Hi, my name's Charlie. I'm from North Carolina in the USA, and I am the founder of the G-Spot.
Hey, I'm Tammy. I'm a co-founder of the G-Spot, and I also work at the shop full-time. So you'll see me here when you come stop by, frying the crispy buttermilk chicken.
What puts a smile on my face every day is being able to create a community in Taiwan around a food that I love.
What puts a smile on my face every day is honestly the reactions of the customers after they've been eating the food. The reactions have been really positive. They always talk about how good it is, so that makes me really happy.
The G-Spot started in the spring of this year. I was working at a friend's event space, and I was hosting dinners and lunches there. And one of the prompts for one of the lunches was make something from your hometown. And I made chicken and biscuits for the first time here, which is something I grew up eating and something I love and something that I could not find in Taiwan. They turned out pretty well, and my two business partners, Tammy and Caleb, came to one of the dinners and they really loved it and offered to work on the business together as partners. So biscuits are a special kind of bread that's found in my region of the United States in the South, in North Carolina and South Carolina. They're made using a soft flour and butter, and they came over to the US through European sailors, and then the recipe kept getting modified. And then with the invention of baking powder in the 1800s, they became pretty widespread among people in the American South, and they were particularly made by slaves and domestic workers. Yeah, now they're a pretty popular food all over America. But I think the South still has the best biscuits because of our special flour. Now I'm bringing them to Taipei. We have chicken biscuits, which is like a traditional way to serve them in North Carolina. So it's a sandwich with the biscuit as the bun and then fried chicken in the middle.
So after your initial planning phase and you had to start finding the right location, let's talk about that time period from there until launch day. What obstacles did you face during that time period?
There were lots and lots of logistical challenges that we faced along the way, especially as foreigners. Both of my business partners and I all have the Gold Card Visa, which should make starting a business in Taiwan as easy as possible for foreigners. And I speak fluent Chinese, so I didn't have any issue dealing with governmental agencies from a language standpoint. But given all those things, I think we faced a lot of challenges and prejudice as foreigners. Just in finding a space, we looked at so many storefronts and we got rejected so many times solely based on the fact that we're foreigners.
What would a landlord say? Is it a landlord or estate agent that would say that?
We worked with several real estate agents that we found through the internet and also just through walking around and looking at for rent signs. And I would always conceal the fact that I am a foreigner when I was talking to them. Initially, we would show up to a meeting and they would all be like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't expect you to be a foreigner. We don't even know if we can rent to foreigners."
Wow.
Because if I had opened the conversation revealing that I was a foreigner, a lot of real estate agents would have rejected us from the beginning. When we were working with real estate agents, we would also ask them to conceal the fact that we're foreigners to the landlord, because that was often an immediate red flag for them. One time we got to almost closing on a storefront. I had like an hour and a half long conversation with one of the landlords in Chinese. Their reason for rejecting us was because the landlord thought his English wasn't good enough. And I was like, I just had an hour and a half conversation with you in Chinese. Aside from looking from a space, we also faced challenges with the bank and with our accountants and starting or getting our business license.
What were the problems that you faced with the banks?
I went to, I think, 5 banks before we got to a bank that would start a business bank account for foreigners.
All 3 of you in the business have got gold card visas, and gold card visas are for professional foreigners, experts coming here. So these are people with good jobs, lots of money, and the banks didn't want to help you.
Yeah, so the first bank I went to, actually, can I say the name of the bank?
Go for it.
First bank that I went to was Mega Bank. This was after we had approval from the government to start our business. So we had the official government letters that said, these people can start a business bank account.
Yeah.
So I handed them this letter from the Ministry of Economic Affairs. And then I also handed them my residence card, my gold card, which should have been enough to start a business bank account. The agent who was helping me told me my gold card was not real and that I needed to send him my gold card application documents to confirm.
You're kidding me.
I am not kidding you. He basically questioned my residential status in Taiwan and said I was not allowed to open a business bank account. And this was actually a bank that our accountant recommended that foreigners had gotten accounts from before. And then I had faced similar problems with other banks. A lot of them gave the excuse their branch was too far away from our storefront to be able to open an account for us. They were banks that were right across the street. Fortunately, we finally got a bank account at Bank of Taiwan. The headquarters is right across the street here at City Hall. They did not really question our ability to open a bank account. I think one reason is because the first agent I got was a lower level agent who didn't know too much. All you have to do to open a bank account here is press a few buttons. When you talk to any sort of bureaucrat in Taiwan, the first answer is always no. Even if it's something that you know you can accomplish or you have an official letter to say that you're allowed to do something. So I just had to prepare myself. And every single time I went to anything, whether it was starting a bank account, getting a business license, the first answer was always no. And I just had to keep pushing and saying, no, I'm actually allowed to do this. And it was like 3 or 4 times usually that I would have to push until they would go and talk to their manager and see if it was something that could be done. This happened when we were getting health insurance and labor insurance. Basically, I showed up to the health insurance office to apply for national health insurance, and they said I was not allowed to. Even though I had officially hired myself as an employee and was...
And by government law, you have to.
Yeah, no, I had to tell the woman that not only could we apply for national health insurance, but we were legally obliged to. And then she printed out my entire travel record in and out of Taiwan and said I was not allowed to apply because I didn't fulfill some other requirement that was not applicable to me. And then I just had to keep saying, no, I can do this.
Just to get the records straight, you speak fluent Chinese.
Yes, I speak fluent Chinese.
So the chances of someone who cannot speak Chinese to get this done?
I would say that if I did not speak Chinese and if I did not have a gold card, this would not be possible.
That's crazy. And Taiwan is so pushing to get foreigners in here.
It's definitely a big disconnect between the government push to attract foreign talent to come here and then the situation on the ground once you arrive and all of the bureaucracy that you have to deal with. I had to go to the bank every day for about 2 months to figure out opening our bank account even after we were approved because we technically are foreign investors in the company. So we were not allowed to use our money that was within Taiwan to start a business. We had to have it come from overseas. So before you can even start a business bank account in Taiwan, you have to apply for a preparatory business bank account to invest in. Once that investment is inside the bank account, the government can approve it, basically let you use your funds that you've already invested.
How much did you have to bring in?
Our initial investment was 500,000 NTD between myself and my 2 business partners. It took about a month and a half to 2 months to approve the investment.
Wow.
And that involved me going into the bank every day to bring them new documents and get new documents from the government and so on and so forth.
Couldn't start a business in that time period.
We were already in the process of renting our space and doing renovations and getting all the other stuff we needed to be prepared to open. And all of our money that we invested was in this account that we could not access. We had to use our own money outside of the investment to get things going, and then we had to reimburse ourselves from the money that we invested in the bank account, and it was a really long process. So just being able to use our own money to pay for things.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, it was kind of nuts.
Let's go over to something more pleasant. Okay, Charlie, so you found the perfect property, managed to get a lease signed on it eventually. Then you had to start renovating and construction work. How did that go?
We're pretty happy with the space that we got. In total, it took almost 2 months to complete renovation. We were given a 1-month estimate for the length of time for renovation because that's usually the speed at which things happen here in Taiwan. It ended up taking 2 months, and this is on top of time that we needed to get the proper permits to be able to start construction. We thought construction would happen immediately after we signed the lease. It ended up taking a solid 3 months to get everything in the shape that it is now.
And during that time, you have to pay a rent.
We negotiated 1 month of free rent because that's how long we thought the renovation would take, and then it took 3 months. So we ended up paying 2 months extra time we were not using the space.
Any problems while you were renovating?
We had a few problems with contractors. I think in Taiwan there's a lot of 差不多 mentality. People, especially construction workers, will do a job and say that it's good enough, and then the next day the floors will be like peeling off. So there's a lot to manage, and things had to be redone a bunch of times.
Let's talk about cost of starting a business. Like, I think there are a lot of misconceptions about it. What would it sort of startup costs for a business like that? What would a person be looking at?
It's a little bit hard to answer that question right now because I still don't think I know exactly how much has gone into this and how much more startup capital will be required to complete all the little bits and pieces that are still left to do. We went in originally with 500,000 NTD. That was not enough, so I think it ended up being around 800 or 900,000 with some shortcuts.
55,000 NT for a premises like this times 4. That's what you need to put down for deposit and first month's rent, and then licenses, opening a business. You know?
Yeah, our cost of renovation was definitely our largest.
Okay. Were there any unexpected expenses that came up which you just did not see coming?
All of the unexpected costs were mostly renovation costs when things had to be redone, and there were a few permits that we needed that we did not see coming. Yeah, I think overall there were not many unexpected costs.
What sort of runway did you prepare for the future?
I think we have about 6 months of runway.
How do you retain or intend on retaining customers?
Here at the G-Spot, we really value hospitality. Usually when a customer comes in and really likes our food, they end up coming back because we give a lot of free things away, and we really make sure everything we serve is the highest quality. We make sure all of our guests have a good time.
Well, I can definitely second that, because in the 20 minutes, half an hour we were here, every single customer who sat here just absolutely raved about it.
We really take pride in the food that we make. We're not in this to make money. We just want to survive and give people good chicken biscuits.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's a spirit. If you had to do this business again, if you had to start over again, what would you do differently?
I could say, well, sure, yeah, I'd like to have a Taiwanese business partner. That would have made things a lot easier. But I try not to have many regrets, and I'm kind of happy at the place we are right now. We're still working to make sure everything is perfect, which it probably never will be, but we're committed to continuing on this path, and I think we've done a pretty good job. I think I'm proud of me and both of my business partners for all that we've accomplished so far.
Wow, fantastic, fantastic. What advice would you give somebody who wants to start a business like this?
Do not.
That's the first time we ever got that answer.
I feel like if I had been presented with all of this information before I had started this business, I would not have thought I was capable of doing it. It's a lot of work, and I still frequently have 18-hour days, and I'm here every day. This is my whole life. So if you think that you might want to commit to something like this, then yeah, maybe give it a shot and make sure you've done your research and know what you're getting yourself in.
And you have a big bag of cash.
Oh yeah, like 2 big bags of cash actually.
What are one of your weaknesses that you've learned to make it work to your advantage in business?
I feel like one of my weaknesses is that I'm a perfectionist. Everything has to be perfect before it goes out to a customer. That can definitely have an impact on our efficiency as a business, our profit, and just the volume that we're able to turn out. Pretty much everything has to touch my hands or my gloves before it goes out. It needs to be exactly the way I want it, or we're doing it again. And sometimes that means the customer is waiting longer than we wanted to, but I think it's worth it for me, and I made our customers happy that when they know they're getting food from us, it will be the best it can be.
Well, absolute respect to you, Charlie, and everyone involved for, having such high standards, because there's quite a bit of lack on that side.
Yeah, it's hard to say that having high standards is a weakness, but it sort of fits your question.
All right, let's wrap it up. Why do you think Taiwan is a great place to do business in?
I've worked all over the world. I've worked in the US, I've worked in Latin America, in China, in different parts of Asia. Just the lifestyle that Taiwan provides to people who live here makes it worth all of the troubles that you have to go through to get things up. It's also comparatively really cheap. I would never be able to open a restaurant in the United States. And despite all of the bureaucracy you have to go through, there aren't too many regulations that you need to fulfill compared to the US or other countries. So there are definitely some benefit to doing business here, and I would say the biggest benefit is just getting to live here. It's a great place.
Fantastic. Charlie, thank you so much for the outing here today. Really appreciated. The food was absolutely awesome. And wishing you, Caleb and Tammy, only the best. And definitely going to pop a lot more. And yeah, for anyone out there who's looking for a really, really interesting, authentic American style chicken biscuit, or if you don't know what a chicken biscuit is, get over here and get
to the G-spot.
Come and hit Charlie's G-spot.
Yes, I much appreciate it.
Fantastic. Listen, man, thank you so much. And yeah, stay in touch.
Thank you so much.
And if you plan to come and establish your dream business here in Taiwan, seriously consider obtaining an entrepreneur visa through our Thai and Future World Incubator collaboration. The Entrepreneur Visa is Taiwan's initiative to attract foreign talented entrepreneurs to come and establish their businesses here in Taiwan. It's a great initiative for folks, especially younger folks who really want to come and try their businesses out. So initially you get a 2-year visa. It's very easy to obtain. And yeah, you come to Taiwan. It's a vibrant business economy and ecosystem here. It's really progressive, and it's just a great place to come and launch your business in. So if you are ready to launch your successful dream business here in Taiwan, then go and look in the description, click on our website link there. All the information is contained on the website there. There is an information brochure, a frequently asked question, and some video talks of what we have done on the Entrepreneur Visa. Once you've read and consumed all the information, then please go and get in touch with our Thai team, and we will schedule a call for you and get it, we can discuss it all there.